Peeves and the Forbidden Forest Fiasco by Sparrow Potter. It was a warm and sunny morning at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and the castle was abuzz with excitement. The news had spread like wildfire that an assortment of magical creatures from the Forbidden Forest had mysteriously escaped and were now wreaking havoc all over the grounds. The mischievous poltergeist Peeves saw this chaos as the perfect opportunity to cause even more mayhem. With a gleeful cackle, Peeves flew through the halls, pulling pranks left and right. The students, both bewildered and thrilled, watched as Peeves made statues dance, set off fireworks in the Great Hall, and spilled ink on countless textbooks. But this time, Peeves had something even more mischievous in mind. Whispering to himself, Peeves concocted a plan. He knew that in the Forbidden Forest, amidst all the untamed creatures, there was a magical flower known as the Wild Blossom. This beautiful flower had the power to amplify the magic of any being that smelled its intoxicating scent. Well aware of this, Peeves decided to collect as many of these blossoms as he could find and distribute them throughout the castle, knowing that it would only increase the chaos. As Peeves soared through the corridors, he couldn't help but admire his own brilliance. The students would be in for a wild ride like never before. But little did he know, a group of brave Gryffindors led by none other than Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger were determined to stop him and restore peace to Hogwarts. Word quickly reached Ron and Hermione about Peeves's plan. The pair knew they had to act fast, as the magical creatures were causing chaos, and the effects of the Wild Blossom would undoubtedly make matters worse. They sprinted through the castle, their hearts pounding with determination. Meanwhile, Harry Potter, known for his affinity with magical creatures, had just returned from Hagrid's hut, where he had been assisting the kind-hearted gamekeeper. He overheard Ron and Hermione's conversation and joined them, feeling a sense of responsibility to protect the creatures he had come to love. Together, the trio devised a plan to catch Peeves and put an end to his mischief. They carefully made their way towards the Forbidden Forest, using their knowledge of the castle's hidden passageways to travel undetected. Upon reaching the outskirts of the forest, they spotted Peeves gleefully flitting about, tossing wild blossoms in every direction. Without wasting a moment, Harry, Ron, and Hermione sprang into action. Using their wands, they cast a clever enchantment that would draw Peeves towards them. The mischievous poltergeist, enticed by the possibility of more mayhem, floated towards the trio, completely unaware of their intentions. As Peeves approached, Ron conjured a powerful containment spell that encased him in a transparent bubble. Peeves, now trapped, tried everything in his power to break free, but the spell held strong. With Peeves secured, Harry, Ron, and Hermione swiftly worked to remove all the wild blossoms from the castle, ensuring that no one would be harmed by their intoxicating effects. The chaos began to subside, and the castle slowly returned to normal. The students, relieved to see the chaos abating, gathered in the Great Hall to celebrate their victory. The wild ride with the magical creatures and Peeves' antics had come to an end, thanks to the bravery and quick thinking of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. As the sun set over Hogwarts, the trio reflected on their adventure. They realized that sometimes even the most lovable mischief-makers needed to be reminded of the importance of responsibility. Peeves, ever the trickster, eventually learned his lesson and decided to channel his energy towards more harmless pranks. From that day on, the Forbidden Forest retained its air of mystique, but the creatures within remained safely within its depths. And as for Peeves, he continued to bring laughter and chaos to the halls of Hogwarts, but with a newfound understanding of the need for boundaries. And so, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry lived on, once again a sanctuary of knowledge and magic, thanks to the bravery and wisdom of its students. And on those quiet nights, when the moon was high over the castle, one could almost hear the distant laughter of Peeves, serving as a reminder that even in the world of magic, mischief and merriment had their place. As the sun set over the grand halls of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Peeves the poltergeist was up to his usual mischief. Floating through the corridors, he cackled with glee, leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. Tonight, however, he had a mischievous plan that would cause a Tri-Wizard tumult during the prestigious Tri-Wizard tournament. Peeves had overheard whispers of the upcoming tournament and couldn't resist the opportunity to cause trouble. He knew that the tournament was a time of excitement and rivalry among the schools of Hogwarts, Beauxbatons, and Durmstrang. Peeves decided to target the visiting students, who were eager to prove themselves and bring honour to their respective schools. His first target was Fleur Delacour from Beauxbaton. With her enchanting beauty and enchanting accent, she had quickly become a favourite among the Hogwarts boys. Peeves, unable to contain his mischievous nature, decided to play a trick on her. As Fleur walked through the halls, he let out a loud shriek of laughter and caused her books to fly from her hands, scattering her notes across the floor. Fleur, startled and embarrassed, cried out in frustration. She knew she had to keep her composure for the sake of her school's reputation, but Peeves had managed to rattle her. Harry Potter, who happened to be passing by, rushed to her side to help gather her scattered notes. Fleur, grateful for the assistance, thanked Harry with a smile. Unbeknownst to them, Peeves was watching from a hidden corner, plotting his next pranks. He had always enjoyed causing mischief, but his antics had rarely caused any real harm. This time, however, he wanted to push the boundaries and make the tournament more interesting and chaotic. His next target was Victor Krum, the renowned seeker from Durmstrang. Peeves knew that Krum was known for his stoic demeanour and his dedication to his school. With a mischievous cackle, Peeves decided to interrupt Krum's concentration during one of his training sessions. As Victor flew through the air, his eyes fixed on the elusive snitch, Peeves appeared out of thin air, blowing gusts of wind that knocked him off course. Krum, bewildered and slightly off balance, tumbled from his broom and crashed onto the ground. The crowd gasped in shock as Krum lay on the pitch, dazed and disoriented. Peeves, hidden under his invisibility cloak, revelled in the chaos he had created. He watched as the other students and teachers rushed to Krum's aid, their concern evident. Madame Maxime, Fleur's headmistress, appeared furious as she glared at the empty space where Peeves had once been. Meanwhile, Harry, Ron and Hermione had been observing the tournament closely. They suspected that something was amiss and knew that Peeves was behind it all. Determined to catch the mischievous poltergeist in the act, they devised a plan to lure him out of hiding. One evening, as everyone gathered in the great hall for the Yule Ball, whispers filled the air. Peeves had been spotted wreaking havoc in the Forbidden Forest. The trio knew this was their chance to catch him. They snuck away from the festivities and ventured into the dark forest, their wands at the ready. The forest was eerie and filled with shadows. Strange noises echoed through the trees, but Harry, Ron and Hermione pressed on, their determination unwavering. After what felt like hours, they stumbled upon Peeves, cackling gleefully as he sent a swarm of pixies flying through the air. Harry, quick on his feet, cast a stunning spell towards Peeves, but the poltergeist dodged it with ease. Ron and Hermione joined in, casting spells of their own, but Peeves was too quick and nimble for them. He zipped through the trees, taunting them with his laughter. Just as they were about to give up, Peeves made a critical mistake. He flew too close to a massive centaur who was not amused by his antics. The centaur, furious at the intrusion, raised his bow and arrow, aiming directly at Peeves. The mischievous poltergeist, realizing his peril, let out a scream of terror and disappeared, leaving the trio standing in shock. They had managed to drive Peeves away, at least for the time being. The Yule Ball continued, but the events of that night left a lingering tension in the air. Peeves had caused chaos during the Tri-Wizard tournament, but Harry, Ron and Hermione had managed to outsmart him, even if it was only temporary. As the tournament drew to a close, Hogwarts emerged victorious. Cedric Diggory, a true symbol of bravery, had won the tournament with honour. The students celebrated, but in the back of their minds they wondered when Peeves would strike again. For now, Hogwarts slowly returned to its usual routine, relieved that the Tri-Wizard tournament had come to an end. But Peeves, ever the mischievous poltergeist, was always lurking in the shadows, waiting for his next opportunity to create chaos. and as long as Hogwarts stood, he would always find a way to bring a tri-wizard tumult to the school.